This is the third episode of AstroCast with Ants. We had a special guest today, JW, who's a bot developer and a bot owner at the age of 17, which is absolutely crazy. This video is sponsored by Astro Alert and Blank Proxy, so make sure to check them both out. We covered clips of 3,000 plus pairs and how you can start bot developing and even how you can start reselling. So make sure you don't miss out on this one. We're back with another podcast today, episode 3, and I have a very special guest, JW, who is the dev and the owner of a bot called Tourne. You want to explain yourself a little bit and explain what you're about?
Yeah, so I'm 17. Um, Started dev work on Tourne like a year ago, and ever since then, just been working on it, trying to make it as best as I can, really.
Yeah, I can't lie. I'm absolutely baffled that you are 17 and developing a bot which is absolutely destroying right now. I have seen success all over and it is doing bits. It is doing a lot of bits.
Yeah, cheers.
Any success stories that you want to mention?
Um, well, there was a ASOS drop. I think it was 5 days ago or something. It was on the 18th. They restocked a load of pandas, harvest moons, everything. Um, and I actually only ended up copying about like 15 myself, but it was had about 80. It was something like 70 notifications on my phone asking for 3DS, but obviously I was in school and the Wi-Fi, they have like security issues on their firewall and stuff. So I'm looking at my phone and I see I've got accept 70 from like 15 minutes ago, and obviously it's 5 minutes they expired a 3DS, so I couldn't do it.
Let's
So that's
let's
a big
let's
thing.
just let's just deep that for a moment. You hit a 75 clip, was it, or something like that? 70 clip, did you say?
Yeah, so I ended up getting there's like 82 3DS notifications, and I only ended up accepting like 10.
Because you were in school. That
Yeah.
to me, that is absolutely crazy. That is nuts. That is nuts. How did you get into reselling? So obviously developing and reselling, there's obviously a big overlap between the two, but they are quite different things. So how did you get into reselling?
Yeah, so funny enough, it actually started with PS5s. I
Oh,
didn't
really?
even know I did not know about sneaker reselling one bit. So
Wow.
it all started just I literally just wanted my own PS5. So I got into some group here, it's called AMA, Aftermarket Arbitrage, something like that. Um and I got in there, got my PS5, and then all of a sudden I'm seeing people like trying to buy sneakers and like reselling them. So that's how I got into sneaker reselling, basically.
Mm. And now I see you're a big part of Astro.
Yeah,
Always in Astro. I always see you there with success. A lot of people spamming success in Astro with the bot Torn. Um,
yeah, because obviously we've got the Astro partnership
yeah,
and
Astro
stuff.
partnership doing bits. So PS5 and then move into sneakers. So you've been reselling for how long? What, 2 years? I want to say.
Yeah, like well, whenever the PS5 craze started coming out, really.
Would you say now you see a future with yourself being a reseller and a developer full time?
Oh yeah, 100%.
That to me is crazy because in the space of 2 years, your life has completely changed.
Yeah, it has like only just realizing it now as well.
That fair play. I'm honestly like that. This story is the more you talk to me, the madder it gets. So 17 starts developing, starts buying PS5s, and now is owning one of the best bots you could say right now. What sites do you guys have? Because I've seen ASOS absolutely destroying it. There's another one, but it's not shoes, but I've completely forgotten the name, and that's me being stupid.
Argos.
Argos, that's the one. I've seen success from
Yeah.
Argos. Yeah, that was a dumb moment from me. But it is honestly killing the game. And a question I have for you is where do you see a future with Torn? Do you see Torn expanding? Do you want to keep it small? What are your future goals with it?
Well, I like to keep the user base small. I don't want a lot of people in there because it just comes like harder control and stuff. Um, it keeps it more. What's the word? Can't think of the word.
I I
What's
I understand what you mean though. A smaller community is a stronger community
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
than
it's
having loads of members.
yeah. That's how I see it.
And every single person I know that has Torn says they love Torn and they use it, which I feel like is better because that's a smaller usage. The minute that you're like everyone has the bot, it will become less. I don't want to say worth less, but in the greater picture, if everyone's got it, it's not as
People have
amazing.
more opinions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And another question I have now, I'm thinking about it. You're in school and you're developing and running a bot and reselling everything. How do you manage time? Like, how are you managing this? Because the way that I see it is, for me, because I don't develop, I know nothing about developing. It must take you like a lot of time to be developing and reselling and college. Fair play, honestly, fair play. But I want to know how you do it because I wish I knew how to do that.
Well, the funny thing is, with when it comes to the sneaker reselling, I probably have about like over like 100+ shoes at the moment, just sitting in the other room because I'm lazy. I literally I'm lazy with it, and I just can't. I can't be able to sell the shoes at the moment because obviously I don't drive at the moment, so I can't take it to the that shop to drop off and stuff. But yeah, it's just all about balancing it really. Um, Being able to like set it aside, do my schoolwork and stuff. Um, but yeah, it's just about balancing it, just so you're able to just manage
That is
what
absolutely
you're doing
insane.
really.
If you think about that from a bigger picture, not knowing what even a sneaker reselling was 2 years ago, to now you having just 100 pairs just sitting in your other room, and I assume they're all
Yeah,
like shoes that can resell. I don't know what stock you have, but I assume they're shoes that are good resale value. That honestly is inspirational to anyone that will listen to this because you've found something so in a short period of time. You found something and honestly blown it to the moon, and
yeah.
it's crazy. And that's what I briefly touched on it like a few minutes ago. But when you look at growth, what do you see? So you want to pursue all of this as a life, like a job and everything. Do you see yourself creating new bots, working on just Torn, opening a sneaker store if you're hitting so many pairs? What would be your end goal and your end dream from the current situation you have?
So obviously after sixth form, I'll have more time. So I don't know. I could probably do a lot more than I'm doing now. Um, but funnily enough, I was actually thinking of starting up a like an Instagram account to sell the shoes, and then hopefully ended up going into a store. So at the moment, just carry on with Torn and doing what I'm doing, and then hopefully end up doing a sneaker store. Hopefully,
Yeah. Well, you're absolutely killing it. So I have no doubt that you'll be able to do that. Um, in
is
terms of developing a bot, where did you start getting into developing? You touched on starting developing. How old were you?
well, I started learning to actually code when I was probably about in year seven, year eight. So when I was like 12.
Wow. Wow. And what were
Yeah,
you weren't coding sneaker bots. What were you coding at the time?
just general, just don't know, just little applications that you can just run. You
Wait,
know.
when you're year 7, year 8, so what, 12? When you're 12, it's more for fun than a business perspective,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah,
So it started off
you
as a hobby, and the hobby that you started with, then later helped you with your sneaker reselling journey, which honestly is insane.
Yeah, because I think I found it easier doing it because I actually enjoyed it. Because obviously everything's a lot more easier to do when you enjoy it. So yeah, that's that.
But yeah, because I'm the same. I love making content and I love selling shoes. So the work doesn't feel like necessarily working because you
Yeah,
have passion for what you're doing.
exactly.
Would you say you have more passion for developing or for reselling?
Oh, developing 100%.
100%. That is
Yeah.
yeah. That's honestly crazy. Uh, I don't know. Where do you even start? Did you start reading books? I don't know. Do you read books on? Because I'm honestly I'm a dum dum when it comes to developing. Absolutely no knowledge. Pretty much like everyone else. So I'm assuming YouTube is probably YouTube. No. Yes.
Um, I mean, you always got your Stack Overflow. Uh, but I mean, there's in this area of like sneaker botting, there's not too much out there in a sense because obviously if if it's like always out there, then I'm sure a lot of people would try do it and everything. But obviously, there is the information out there. It's just not like here how to make a sneaker bot.
how to do this and this and that, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
you can it's like a puzzle. You connect the pieces, and then you end up having a sneaker bot.
yeah,
But
pretty much.
another thing I want to ask you is, did did anyone give you help? Because a common thing which a lot of people have said on this podcast is the sneaker industry is very conservative for their opinions. They don't. No one gives out information just freely.
Um,
Or did you have help from other people in the early days of finding out how to actually make a sneaker bot?
so yes and no. Like I was quite stubborn myself. I never used to always like to ask actually people how to do this because if I did that, then I feel like I'll just feel like an idiot myself. So yeah, a couple of times I've gradually build up slowly to like say for example a solution to something. But yeah, it's not like they haven't been straightforward with it, but you know, I agree with what you said. Like, not everyone likes to um, share everything and stuff.
Yeah, and that's another big thing with the sneaker industry, which I've mentioned in every single podcast here. I'm gonna ask you that. I believe the sneaker industry is a very toxic like industry and the most toxic ever. And I want to ask you: is there a developing community?
Yeah,
Do developers message each other? Because I have no clue what.
I'll be totally honest. I don't even message other developers really. I
Really?
don't get involved. No, I just don't. I just can't be asked.
Yeah, because
Keep myself to myself.
it's all competing at the end of the day.
Yeah, I don't really care about what other bots are doing. I'm just doing what I'm doing.
But from what I've seen, Tourne is definitely one of the ones up there right now. 100%. From what I've seen, and on Astro's success, I will pop up some images here. It is crazy. It is honestly crazy. People are absolutely destroying ASOS drops. I've seen that. Panda dunks, loads of dunks, Argos as well. And I want to ask you how that makes you feel. Because if I could never imagine being in a position where I've created something where someone is making money through my creation, if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
you're helping other people make honestly like full-time salaries worth of money through something that you developed.
yeah. Well, it's nice feeling. You know, all that hard work putting into it, and then knowing that
If I was to
some
ask you a rough estimate of how many, let's say how many hours a day, I would assume roughly you'd put into Torn. Could you answer that, or do you think it's like countless? It's just round the
it's
clock.
um. I mean, it just varies. Sometimes I'll just like put it to the side for a bit, have a little break. I don't know, go out on the weekend or something.
Yeah.
So there's not like I don't have like a timetable where I'm like sitting down. Right, you've got to do this now. But,
But on average, like you'd say, like every day you spend a few hours on it.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That is crazy. You must get the best feeling when people just spam success. They just hit.
Yeah, that's what the aim of it is.
And the aim, well, I would think the aim would be to grow, but you're saying smaller community, and now I'm thinking differently. A smaller community might actually, it probably works better. So right now, if someone's wanted to buy Torn, could they just go out and purchase Torn?
mm, no, unless I only really provide group buys at the moment. Um, obviously to groups that I know that have people in there that can actually um like run the bot well and get success with it.
At some point, if you're just having a bot left on a website, it might end up in the hands of people that don't necessarily know how to use it, and that could
And
give a
then
bad reputation to you.
the numbers are like inaccurate to like runners, and then so say for example someone might be running it, but they might not know a good setup. So then it's not, yeah,
You want people running the bot who know how to run the bot.
yeah.
Not necessarily how to run the bot, but how to
Obviously, some
actually.
people got to learn as well. So obviously, I understand that, but you know,
But some people as well. buy bots and then just like kind of they just like bought it and don't really
Yeah,
they don't
like
they don't they don't
just some people I just see them. They bought it like I don't know ages ago, and they just still haven't even like opened the bot. I,
yeah. Can as a bot developer, can you see that? Can you see each person and how much they're hitting and all of that?
yeah, yeah, pretty much. Because obviously I have like databases and
Yeah, that is
stuff.
absolutely insane. Does database show you how many pairs collectively, or if it doesn't, do you think you could say how many pairs collectively you'd hit? So on that ASOS drop, which was 5 days ago, how many pairs do you think Tourne as a whole hit?
It was just under 3,000 checkouts with I don't. I think it was just under like 40 people running.
Wow,
Yeah,
wow, wow. I'm actually speechless. That is nuts. That is absolutely crazy. So it was pandas that restocked, wasn't it? It was pandas.
it was. I mean, there was loads. I can't even. So you had the gym red ones, Rose Whispers, I think it's the Harvest Moons.
Yeah, they're
Um,
all quite good profit as well.
yeah, Mints. I mean that's pretty much the only ones that I got.
So if I'm to just throw out a literal random number, you said 4,000 checkouts,
No, just under 3,000,
just under 3,000. That's basically all the stock from ASOS.
pretty
that is
much.
that is
Well, I don't know
absolutely
the exact stock numbers.
obviously not the exact stock numbers,
Yeah,
but I cannot imagine ASOS having like because ASOS is obviously not like a massive retailer like Nike, but
yeah.
that is absolutely insane,
I
man.
mean, I mean, ASOS is like it's only like once a month, really. So I mean, it's like a lot of people always like, even though we do well on ASOS, is it worth it just for like one site for every month? But
I'm not that great at maths, but 40 users, three under 3,000 checkouts, and even if you're making like a tenner on top, that's quite a lot of money. Even if it's just once a month, that covers the money that you invested in the bot. That's how I look at
yeah,
it personally, because obviously I use bots. How I look at it is the money I've invested. If I'm not even getting that back, it's wrong. But from what I know, everyone that has Tourne is making a lot of money, which is great because the drops are insane. I'm honestly this is the first time on a podcast where I've actually been speechless. This to me is crazy. 3,000 checkouts in one day. That is crazy. And that story you mentioned in school, it
oh
honestly it
yeah, it
baffles
still
me.
annoys me now.
If you were to tell anyone who maybe is not similar to you but doesn't know about reselling and has some sort of coding skills, if you were to give them any sort of advice, what would you give to them?
What, to get into sneaker reselling or botting?
Both.
Well, I mean, obviously it depends on your capital and stuff, but I find it was easy at the start when I was getting the odd pair of shoe because I was able to hold it for a little bit more and try to get the most out of it. So when it comes into the botting, you're usually getting load of pairs, right? So I mean, you just kind of just want to keep on getting rid of them for like the next drop. So I mean, if you want to just get into it, just stay patient, and because a lot of people they will just, oh, I didn't get this from that raffle, and then they just end up giving up. But I mean, just gotta just be patient with it.
It's
I'd say,
perseverance. Yeah.
yeah.
Um Another question I have for you, which I asked everyone, but I have to ask to everyone because my opinion is apparently different to everyone else. Do you see the Panda dunk bricking? I want everyone's opinion on this.
Yes,
You see it bricking?
yeah,
I don't think I genuinely don't believe it will ever brick.
don't you? I mean, how much can they release for everyone to actually end up getting the shoe?
Well, do you
And
own
then,
Panda dunks?
oh yeah, too many.
How many pairs of Panda dunks?
I've gone through about what personals?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I've gone through about 4
Wow.
this year.
It's what?
I just like to keep them fresh.
Yeah. That's crazy. The only pandas I have are panda highs, and you know what? I backdoored, so bit of I had a backdoor for panda dunks, and it was like 20 pairs, and I paid like 150. I want to say 160 a pair. I can't remember. It was a while ago, and that was a steal. That was like the one of the best prices like you could ever get for panda dunks at that time. and now you can see over time they're slowly declining. But on the run up to Christmas, now we're going to see they're slowly increasing. I was looking at GS pandas, and they're starting to go up to like nearly £100 profit a pair, which is
Yeah.
absolutely
So also talking about Panda G's, because we obviously I added that. I still don't know how to say it. So is it Shuch or Shoosh?
yeah. The
I don't
German
know.
one.
How do you say it?
No, not a clue, not a clue.
But they obviously having load of Panda G's uh restocking during the weeks and we've obviously added a module for that. So I mean, plenty of profit there for some Panda G's.
Are you, when it comes to adding sites, are you always looking at what's happening? Because that's another thing that me as a reseller, so we're both resellers, but very different worlds. Because, but we're in the exact same industry. That's what baffles me. But are you always looking to find new stores and new sites that you can create modules for?
Um, yeah, only if I think it's worth it. Like,
Yeah.
say for example, I mean, I think the whole reason why I added that was just because um I just saw it pinging in quite a couple of groups, and I just thought, let's just see what I can do. And then I
Mm.
just thought a lot of people could benefit from this.
Yeah.
I'll only do it if people benefit from it, and it's going to actually be worth it. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. And it takes time and money, and if even if they've got like 10 pairs as well, it's not exactly worth it.
Yeah, see, their stock numbers can be quite good. So,
Yeah. Into another question, stock numbers wise, do you ever find out stock numbers for sites, or you're in the blue like
uh,
everyone else?
I mean, I'm in quite a few groups. So I, yeah, I do. To be fair,
Yeah. That helps. That's what Astro helps me with the Nike info. The Nike, that thing just is a lifesaver.
Mark and the Astro is quite good. Yeah.
Another site that I hear a lot of people are getting pairs on is Zalando. Do you have any comment on Zalando? Because it's obviously a bit of a grey area. For people that don't know, do you want to explain a little bit about Zalando?
Yeah, so obviously gotta have accounts and they've gotta be cartable. So things that can make account cartable is just pretty much an active account. Um Sometimes I'm not too sure on this, but sometimes purchasing stuff on there and it just becomes cartable.
So usually accounts are quite expensive. There's like a higher startup cost. Whereas if you're running ASOS, for example, an account is like free.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But Zalando's success is obviously a lot higher.
because you've gotta have less accounts. Some people have less accounts because of how much they are. So the ratio is like split out between people a little bit more. But back in the day when I'm pretty sure the whole reason why they're quite expensive at the moment is because there's not many cart checkers. So what happened was as soon as a major like and there was like an Akima bypass on Zalando, and as soon as that got clipped, that's when I saw the count prices going up. So I guess it was they couldn't check as many accounts, so it was harder for them to check. So then they charged extra on that. That's what I'm thinking, which makes sense.
Yeah. Another question that I have for you, which is quite interesting. Do you want to explain what a bypass is? For the average person, people are like, oh, you have a bypass for this, that, and then. But can you go into depth of what a? Not obviously you can't explain how to bypass, but what a bypass is in basic form.
So some websites will obviously have um, well, obviously security on the website, bot protections, and obviously you can put it into the module for the site where it will actually skip. It will completely well, it will bypass the bot protection. So and obviously sometimes you can't even replicate that in the browser. So there's not even really a possible way for you to even do it in Chrome.
Would you say would you say that's the best advantage of having a bot? Because the average user physically, usually when it comes to botting, it's just like the sheer amount of tasks you're running and proxies being good and stuff like that. But would you say at
Yeah,
that point it's you have to have a bot to be able to cop?
yeah, I mean, it can depend on the website, I guess, but in most cases, I mean, I see a bot no matter what. Obviously, sometimes it can be a really big gap or a smaller one, but I only see a bot as a tool to not actually get you checkouts, just to help you get the checkouts. It's never because you're never always guaranteed like a pair or whatever. So it's always just to boost your chance of getting it, not to actually get your stuff.
Yeah, guarantee. Um, as a bot owner as well, your GB, you're speaking English, so I assume you're in the UK. Um, users all over the EU, or are you mainly a UK bot?
Well, I mean, we do have, well, it's mainly UK, but we do have a couple of EU users who will run the EU sites like Zalando, Kif.
That I don't speak German. I dropped it at GCSE level, but the shoe, I honestly have no clue how to
Yeah,
say it.
that runs. You can obviously do that in Germany, of France. So, I mean, yeah,
Mr.
some of the
International.
sites, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. To think that you've
But I mean,
all
if you look at the some of like, so say for example, the collectible websites, like retail sites. Well, I mean, we have like Argos, Audi, currently working on tops. Um,
That's a good one because I
yeah.
tops for people that don't know tops. You can make a really good money of tops.
So I did have that module when in, well, I did have it earlier, but I got rid of it when I started to rewrite the whole modules, and we was killing it. I mean, there was literally only like two people running it, but every single drop they always got something from it. When like, yeah, so it's definitely a good contender, but I just need to obviously work on a bit because the site's a little bit changed.
Yeah, but how frustrating must it be to make a module, it be working perfectly fine, and then having to rewrite it and change certain things? Do you have to go through and tweak little things, or is it a matter of just like delete and start again?
I mean, depends on what scale we're talking about. Like, I mean, that happened. Well, I mean, yeah, it does happen. I can tell you that for sure. And sometimes, well, you always hope that it could just be like something little, so I don't have to bloody redo the whole thing. But it can happen, and that's when my life gets harder.
Yeah, that's when the hours of rewriting jump to
Yeah,
like 13 hours a day.
yeah. It's so. I mean, that can be very time consuming. That
As a whole I'll say community of a bot, what would you say has been the most successful drop
most successful drop
as all users?
as all users. I mean, I
Because
could
I know
probably.
that last
Oh,
ASOS one.
okay. So I may as well just say it now. Oh, well, yeah, everyone sort of knew we did have a Pro Direct Q bypass. We had it for about 3 months, and it kept it low key at the start, but it just kept on getting out. Everyone always pretty much got shoot every single drop.
That's crazy. Those who don't know ProDirect, I think it was literally like 2 weeks ago. I checked out on ProDirect at like 6 p.m. or something stupid like that, like really late in the day, because
Yeah,
you
it
stay in a
was.
queue all day.
Yeah, it was. It's a weird site. We was we was the first. I'm pretty certain on this, but I'm pretty sure we was the first bot to have the bypass on it.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Members must have been making like good money because
Yeah,
ProDirect.
I did keep it to obviously we have like I try to get people to run more, so I have like chefs, so they get exclusive access to some stuff. So I did have it for them, and then a lot of people were moaning, so I opened it up and then I gave it back to chefs, and then yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people. The one thing that also baffles me is why ProDirect is now like one of the main sites that people are hitting on. Because when I was little,
I think it's
ProDirect.
because if you have the bypass, it's pretty easy to actually get it.
But like my image, Pro Direct's where you used to buy your Astros from when you were
Yeah,
like 12.
I kid you not, I did buy a pair of football boots from there, like,
Yeah, and now
before I
people
even
are
knew
hitting
about
like clips of Panda dunks, and I'm like,
it.
well,
I
that doesn't
know.
make sense. Yeah, but to be fair, ProDirect can be a very good day if it's done correctly, especially if you've got a bypass. That is like crazy. That is literally like a little. That's a cheat code. That's an advantage. Like you said, you had it before anyone else. That's an advantage you had on everyone else, which is why I would say comfortably, Tourne is one of the best bots right now that anyone can buy. What was the first module you made on the bot? Obviously, you've got a big site list now with different sites. What was the first module you ever made?
It was probably Audi.
See, to
Yeah,
to to, to
it's a weird
someone that
one.
doesn't resell, you're like, why have you made a bot for Audi? That like makes no sense. Like Audi's where you go and do your weekly shop. Why are you making a bot for it? But Audi was such a cook at one point.
Yeah.
It was lockdown time.
Because it was so easy for me to make the module because it was a 30-minute cart hold, and all you had to do was really add to cart, and then you was able to just get a link, put it in your browser, and it would just be it'll be in your cart in your browser. So
Yeah.
it's perfect.
What were you cart holding? This will make everyone watching laugh.
Egg chairs,
Egg
and
chairs.
it was what was it? It was the Ratin sofas. Yeah, it's nuts.
Sofas and egg chairs. And the thing is, you were making good money on stuff like that.
Yeah, it was. You also got the kayaks as well.
Yeah, oh, I remember that. There was loads
Yeah,
of things.
kayaks.
Kayaks,
There's
yeah.
loads. There's like a hidden parts as like inside the sneaker community where you also get like your collectible stuff as well.
Well, collectibles is a big thing in the sneaker industry. You mentioned tops. That's like collectibles. And I think the common misconception of reselling is it is mainly just shoes. When,
Yeah, there's more. There's a lot more to it. But when you get into like the sneakers, it also opens up to more doors really.
yeah, well, I know a lot of people that are big on tickets, reselling toys, reselling collectibles, reselling
Yeah,
literally
Disney.
everything. Disney, yeah.
Yeah, out of the what were they? They did the stitches, but they mixed it with like other like characters sort of. I've actually got some in the other room as well.
So something I've seen recently as well, Pokemon cards. That's been reselling for a
Yeah,
while.
because you used to. I never really got onto them. It what was it you could get a pack like you'd buy like the pack, but you could either sell the pack or you could open it yourself to see if you got like a card.
Can I be honest with you?
What?
What I did was like if I hit enough like ones, I'd pick one and open it. It was a Charizard. Everyone was looking for a Charizard.
Yeah, that's the chart.
I
Yeah,
never got it, but like the Charizard was going for like 400 or something like that.
yeah,
And like the
just
tin,
praying for it.
you could sell it for like £50. At the end of the day, reselling is just buying something that has demand that outweighs the supply.
Yeah,
Exactly, like egg chairs, which to this day that still really
which is
baffles me.
just yeah, it's just nuts.
If you think about it, it kind of made logical sense during lockdown. It's something that
Yeah,
people
see, I don't think I'd have got into any of this if I weren't in lockdown.
it's exact same. I started reselling in lockdown.
It's nuts.
Well, I was into Supreme and stuff like that before, but I wasn't really reselling. I was just like buying it and wearing it,
Yeah, right,
like
yeah.
the Supreme. But I think lockdown opened a lot of doors for people, especially in the reselling game, because it was the peak time. Anything because all stock was online, you could bot. Um,
Yeah, you couldn't even go in store to even get like the PS5s.
and for example, egg chairs, if they're selling out and people are in their gardens because you can't go
Yeah.
outside, you're gonna want an egg chair.
It just made more sense.
Yeah, that was one of the only cops that I did not end up personally at the egg chair. Yeah, didn't end up doing that one. But yeah, it was a weird time for reselling, and like you said, that what even how long were we even for in lockdown for? A few, let's say 6 months.
Yeah, it was on and off a bit and then
That six
yeah,
months changed your life like fully forever. And when
yeah.
you put when you say it like that, it makes it seem like even crazier than it is. Like you changed your life because of lockdown, and you started to resell because you wanted a PS5.
I just wanted a PS5. That's a dream.
No, no. Do you know what? Well, I kept a PS5. I think most resellers kept a PS5 at one point.
Yeah, I think I got like six, and I just kept one.
Yeah, pair of shoes on the line on a match of FIFA 23.
No, I can't. I don't play FIFA anymore. It's just I get too angry.
I couldn't. Me
I've
personally,
lit-
Warzone.
I've got two holes in my desk.
The best, one of the best devs around right now, Rages from FIFA. Please get some help.
I went. I've gone through like two monitors. I'm not even. I'm not even
Jesus,
joking.
just for
Yeah,
FIFA.
I promise. Yeah, I'm not even joking. That's why I swore myself I can't get it again. I was into Warzone a lot. I like that. I used to do Warzone tournaments as well.
Yeah. There was a point in lockdown where I did a tournament for I forgot what it was. It was a pair of shoes. So the winning team, they all got a
Oh,
pair of shoes and
oh
you paid in for it. I would love to see stuff like that again, but I feel like that doesn't really happen in the sneaker community anymore. Like stuff like
yeah.
that. That was a very lockdowny thing. Everyone was at home, everyone naturally
Everyone was
started
actually playing Warzone and stuff like that.
everyone was playing
Yeah.
video games, you could do stuff like that. Whereas now there's not really like anything like that happens in the sneaker industry. A lot of people I know that have actually saying this is a big thing. A lot of people I know have left the sneaker industry. They were reselling and then now they don't. And for me, I don't understand it, but some people have done that.
I
What do
mean,
you think about
some
that?
people's priorities just change, I guess. I mean, getting maybe an apprenticeship or something.
It's growing up as well because bear in mind when I started, I was what 16, I want to say. So some of my friends reselling when they were 16, now they're 18, like university. They've just decided to stop, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that can never be me.
Yeah.
No, it's a sneaker reselling is almost addictive, and that's the same with botting in my opinion.
Yeah. Me, Devin, and just working on it is addictive.
Like botting and hitting shoes, botting is like a dopamine rush that you can't explain until you have it. I don't. It's like you crave it. It's weird. Like if I was to go for a drop and hit pairs of
You just
shoes,
want to
that
hear the checkout sound.
my whole day sorted.
Yeah.
If you don't hit, if you absolutely mess up and everyone else just hit, it's a bad day. But if you do hit, it's fun. Botting to an extent, would you say is a hobby?
Uh, well, I mean, if you've actually got your own store, or it's, I don't know, you've actually got a profile where you actually do sell, it's without botting, you can't fulfill your demand for your shoes. So it can be like more of a lifestyle sort of thing.
And there's different types of resellers in the industry. There's resellers that I know that own stores that they pay resale for
Yeah.
every single pair of shoes that steps in, and then there's resellers that they only ever pay retail for a pair of shoes. They'll never
They
pay
only sell
more
to
than that.
StockX and Go and
Yeah.
stuff.
That's kind of what I'm more as. I don't know about you. I
Yeah,
assume as you two as a
I'm the
botter.
same. Yeah.
Occasionally, if I know someone that's selling a steal or used pair, I'd pick it up. But
Yeah, see,
mainly,
I never buy the resale.
no. But it depends the deal. If so, for example, I'm shadow banned on TikTok right now, so I can't sell it. But I bought a 4K mystery box to sell on TikTok, like as a like a £1 raffle. That's technically paying resale for shoes, but
Yeah.
in a way it works. So it's all about perspective in the industry, to be honest. And the industry is like a massive chain, and I'd say botters are at the bottom because they're the ones taking the stock and then moving it on. I know loads of botters that have connections to stores and bulk buyers, so the bulk buyers message them when a shoe releases, or the sellers like, oh, ASOS dropped. I have this pair of shoes, and then the bulk buyer just buys it. You make a
Yeah.
connection.
I think I mentioned it like earlier when you said like how do you get into it? Because obviously when you get the one pair, it's easier for you. Because obviously when you're not buying, it's easier for you to then I don't know. It's easy because you're obviously focusing on the one pair of shoe and you're trying to get the most you can out of it. So when you're getting bought, you're getting so many, you just want to get rid of them so quick so you can have enough for the next drop.
That's why you move to bulk, and that's why people
Yeah.
do to a point deals. So, for example, Panda Dunks, I don't even know what they're going for now because the market's everywhere. Let's say a pair of Panda Dunks goes for 160. You got 10 pairs. You might knock it down a little bit, and then that person's going to make money on that. But you're knocking it down because
You're
it's
also
less it's
making
less
money.
hassle for you. You're
Yeah.
just getting rid of it quickly and getting the cash so you can reinvest. Because botting is, in my opinion, botting's about buying shoes, liquidating, and repeating. Unless
What is
you
it?
hold, then that's a different story. But it's about buying, selling, and then buying. Well, that's reselling as a whole. But I know a lot of resellers, um, they'll buy, hold, get the most for their money. But I feel like botting's more of quickly liquidate because there's a next drop coming and a next drop coming. That puts me to the next question. Are you a holder or a seller? I know you said you have shoes and you haven't got around to it, but do you purposely say I'm not selling this shoe because I believe it will increase in value?
I mean, yeah, my holds are pretty bad. Let's just say that. I do have some shoes that I'm holding, but I'm thinking, should I be doing it?
I bet that Atmosphere Jordan ones,
Atmosphere Jordan
the
ones,
pink
no.
ones, that every single person I
Oh,
know.
I did sell that. Do you know what? That's the first time I ever sold. I sold about 10 of them. Some some guy picked them up, and I wish I held them. I actually do, because they remind me of them other shiny
Yeah,
shoes. I
but
don't know what they
this the
are.
thing. Long term, they've not done great. Whereas I learned the hard way about selling. So my Oreo fours 60 pairs. If I was to hold an extra 3 months, 4 months, I would have made an extra 10 G's. That's
Oh.
that's
Yeah.
that's a sticky one still. Like every time I go on StockX or I see everywhere, and I'm just like, yeah, they're 500 now.
I think I've got some Jordan 2 Unions. I don't know. I don't actually know what they're called. Air Jordan 2.
The
Yeah.
high ones that I don't like them personally, but
Yeah, there's some like that's what the LA ones. I don't really know. Yeah, and then I've got like, yeah, as I said earlier, I've got a couple of grey fogs. Um, s- uh, two Travis Air Maxes. I don't even know what to think about them.
what color? The yellow one or the brown one?
The brown one and the yellow.
I actually think they're really nice, the brown ones.
I wouldn't wear them.
I actually won them from Offspring and I had to go collect them as a reseller. Come on.
Oh no.
Offspring blocked me on Instagram. That's my biggest flex in life. I'm blocked on Instagram by Offspring.
That's when you know you're a reseller.
Yeah. No, I just like one day I was just like, oh yeah. Like there was a drop. You know how they do their drops is really weird. And then it's like go on to Instagram, and it was just like,
Yeah.
where the fuck's Offspring? And you know, I don't know if you watch my TikToks, but I saw the owner of Offspring, and I was making a TikTok in the airport rating people's shoes, and I rated his shoes, and then everyone started commenting. That's the owner of Offspring. That's the owner of Offspring. Ended up actually chatting to him. Not the owner, is the guy that runs the Instagram. I ended up actually chatting to him, and I was like, "Can you put me on the list for Travis?" Because this was before Travis, and he was like, "Haha, I don't know what list you're on about." And
Oh,
I was like, oh, like usually if you find like the owner, or, like he sometimes he posts stuff. If you find me, you get added to the list. And I was like, I found you. Like, can you add me to the list? And then he was like, oh no, because it was a holiday, not a work event. And I was like, yeah, it's an L.
oh.
It's just an L, isn't it? I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please let me know who you want to see on this next. And thank you for watching. Bash.